This is the S3XY Dash, the world's smartest and most customizable instrument cluster for the Tesla Model 3 and Y. And in this video I will do a full unboxing, guide you through the installation process and show you how to set it up for different use cases. Let's dive in. This is how the S3XY Dash bundle box looks for every variant of the Tesla Model 3 and Y lineup. The only difference is the type of cable included based on your car, but more on that later. As soon as you open the box, you will see the beautiful 9.6-inch QLED display in its full glory. We decided to pick this shape because of its curves and because it matches Tesla's original central screen aesthetics. If you look closely, you will notice there is a film on top of the display. This is our custom-built privacy filter designed to remove unwanted glare that would otherwise be reflected on your windshield. It also serves as a protective layer against potential scratches. On the back, the S3XY Dash has a metal plate that attaches to the magnet inside the stand, which you will use during the installation process. This plate sits in a special indentation designed to provide extra stability to the unit and helping it withstand bumps while driving. Underneath you will find a USB-C port to power the dash as well as an SD card port. At this moment, this slot is not in use, but we placed it there in case we ever release a larger update that would take too long to install over the air. Now let's move the display aside and see what else is inside the box. If you purchase the S3XY Dash bundle, it comes with the commander unit, which is the brain behind all of our products. It is installed at the front OBD port of your car, but more on that shortly. Please note that the dash doesn't work with the Gen 1 commander, which is a product we made over 4 years ago. As you can see, the one that comes with the dash is all black and triangular in shape. The dash will also not work with any commander installed at the OBD ports located inside the central console. Those ports do not provide the necessary data that the dash needs to be fully functional. The commander that controls the dash also offers additional benefits that enhance your driving experience. These include muting your car's intelligent speed assist warning sound, disabling the emergency lane departure feature, creating a passenger easy entry profile, and many other useful automations. If you already own a Gen 2 commander, you can purchase the S3XY Dash as a standalone product for a much lower price. Just visit the shop section on enhauto.com. To power the commander, you will need the provided OBD cable in the box, which differs depending on your Tesla model. Even though the Juniper cable looks similar to the one for the Model 3 and Y build between 21 and 25, they are not the same. Please make sure to select the correct variant for your vehicle when placing your order. If you ever decide to change your car, for example, from a legacy Model Y to a Juniper Model Y, you don't need to buy a completely new S3XY Dash. The system works across all models, and the only thing you need is the correct commander cable from our website, which is the cheapest part of the entire setup. Inside the box you will also find a pry tool which you will use during the installation process, a cleaning wipe, a spare adhesive tape, a USB-C cable to power the dash, as well as the MagSafe style stand. The stand features a minimalist design, and upon closer inspection you will notice a small screw on the side that allows you to adjust the viewing angle according to your preference. Personally, I prefer having it fully vertical when using it as an HUD placed on top of the dash. But if I decide to mount it behind the steering wheel, I slightly adjust the angle upward to get a better viewing angle. Again, this is entirely up to you. To hide the screw, we have included a small plug inside the box. Use it after you have found the right position for the stand and know that you will not be adjusting it anymore. While we are discussing the stand, let me show you the two proper installation locations. The one we recommend is behind the windshield, right on top of the dashboard. And before you place it there, the first step is to clean the surface with the provided wet wipe and allow it to dry. After that, place the stand so that one side touches the small bump on the dash while centering it with the steering wheel. Having the dash attached to the mount helps you center it more accurately. Once you find your sweet spot, remove the adhesive seal and gently place the stand without pressing it down. If you are happy with the position, press firmly with both hands and hold it for a few seconds to ensure the strong bond. You can then carefully remove the display and leave the mount in place while you install the commander and set up the dash. If this location does not work for you, take the pry tool and remove the stand. Replace the double-sided tape with the spare one included in the box. Then clean the surface in front of the air vent with the same wipe or use anything else that does not leave oily residue. Let it dry, position the stand so that it's centered in your viewing angle, press firmly, and then proceed to installing the commander. As mentioned earlier, the S3XY Dash bundle box includes a commander and a connecting cable that needs to be plugged into one of the diagnostic ports of your car. I will be showing you how to install it in every available model, so feel free to choose the right timestamp based on your variant. All Tesla Model 3 and Y vehicles built after 2020, including the Highland and the Juniper models, have their ports located at the front right A-pillar, regardless of whether the car is left-hand or right-hand drive. The entire process is extremely simple. Start by removing the rubber seal around the door area and peel it back towards the seat. Then, remove the plastic panels using the provided pry tool. Do not worry about breaking anything. Most Tesla interior panels are held in place by clips that are easy to remove and reinstall. Take your time and remember that it looks much harder than it actually is. Once the right side panel is removed, you will find two types of ports. One is slightly larger and usually has nothing plugged into it. This is where the larger socket of our cable will go. The other port is smaller and already has a cable connected to it. Disconnect both by pressing the small locking tab, then daisy chain our cable between them, similar to using an extension cord. Next, take the black male socket coming from the cable we just installed and plug it into the female socket coming from the Dash's power cable. Originally, we were thinking of powering it from the rear USB port, but we have changed it at the last minute due to multiple requests from the community when we first announced the product. Please note that this cable is strictly designed for the S3XY Dash and should not be used for any other products, like charging your phone. At this point, you will have two empty sockets left. One comes from the USB power cable and the other is on the OBD cable. The first one is where the commander will be plugged in, so go ahead and do that to confirm the lights turn on. The second socket gives you the option to power any third-party accessory without removing ours, such as the S3XY Strips controller, which also uses the OBD connection. If you think you need more guidance on how to install the commander, a full step-by-step video is available on our channel, and I will leave a link to it in the description below. Now, let me show you how to install the commander on a Model 3 and Y built in 2019 or 2020. These cars don't have a right A-pillar port, instead the OBD port is located under the glove box, right inside the MCU. And to access it, first move the passenger seat fully backward to create enough space. Then lay down in the footwell area facing upwards and remove the plastic cover that hides the port. Locate the grey 12-pin connector shown on the screen, unplug it and daisy chain our cable to it. Next, power up the commander to confirm that the lights starts flashing. Once confirmed, neatly tuck in all the wires and close the panel the same way you open it. To help you further, I will leave a full tutorial for this installation process linked in the description of the video. Now, let me show you how to route the USB cable across your Dash in seconds. There are small differences in how the cable runs on the Highland and Juniper models compared to the legacy Model 3 and Y. Let's start with the newer models first and then go through the rest. If you are using the S3XY Dash as an HUD behind your windshield on the Juniper and Highland models, you don't need to disassemble anything. We will use the small gap that runs across the entire dashboard to hide the cable. First, place the Dash face down in front of the already mounted stand. Plug the USB-C cable into its port, then mount the screen upright on the stand. This ensures the cable length is just right and not sticking out. Then place the cable into the gap and use the provided pry tool to tuck it in across the entire dashboard until it completely disappears. If you decide to mount the Dash behind the steering wheel on those same models, you will need to route the USB cable either along the air vent gap towards the right side of the car or hide it under the dashboard panel, which is held in place by multiple clips. The first option is easier and only requires to tuck the cable along the gap until you reach the end. The second option takes more time, but it is the one we recommend as it creates a truly OEM-like result. To do this, use the pry tool as a leverage to unclip the panel, starting from the end until the entire piece is removed. Then, run the cable along the grooves until you reach the far right side. Either of the two methods you choose, you need to route the right side of the cable inside the A-pillar. To do this, use a fishing wire and attach the USB cable to it. Insert the fishing wire into the small gap on the right side of the dashboard until it exits near the glove box area. Gently pull it through until the cable is fully routed. Then plug its connector into the empty port of the already connected OBD cable. Now let me show you how to do it on a legacy Model 3 and Y. If you choose the HUD style setup, the cable will need to run across the top of your Dash. To do this, create a small gap in the speaker cover using the pry tool. Start from the right side and carefully work your way toward the stand you already installed. Once you reach the stand, place the dash face down in front of it. Plug the USB-C cable into its port, then mount the screen upright on the stand. After that, tuck the USB cable into the gap you created until you reach the far right side and press the speaker cover back in place until it clicks. If you decide to mount the dash behind the steering wheel on all legacy Model 3 and 2i vehicles, routing the USB cable requires removing the entire front dashboard panel, which is actually very easy to do. On most models, this can be done by gently unclipping the panel using the provided pry tool. However, on some models built after 2023, you may need to remove one screw on each side of the dashboard using a screwdriver before you begin taking it off. Once the panel is removed, run the cable across the entire length of the dashboard, leaving only a short section exposed near the steering wheel. This will be enough to power the sexy dash later. Then, route the cable inside the right A pillar and plug it into the OBD cable that was installed earlier. After these steps are completed, reinstall the dashboard panel the same way you removed it. Make sure all clips are aligned before snapping it back into place. Plug the remaining USB cable into the sexy dash and mount it on the stand. If the cable appears too long, gently pull it from the right side until it's completely hidden. Finally, reassemble the entire right A pillar panel by starting with the L-shaped piece and its clip, then the side glove box cover, and lastly the rubber seal. The end result is an OEM-looking instrument cluster positioned neatly behind your steering wheel. Now, let's connect the Commander to the Sexy app if you have not already done so. Go to the Commander section, search for a unit, and press Connect. If a prompt appears, confirm the connection by double pressing the right scroll wheel button on your steering wheel. Then, check for any pending updates and install them without closing the app. Now, let's proceed with the dash. To make things easier, you can grab it with your hands and plug additional USB-C cable to power it on instead of reaching through the dash while setting it up. Get your phone and repeat the same process to connect it and install the latest software updates. All feature updates will be delivered through the Sexy app, so make sure you are subscribed to our newsletter as we send updates videos by email. The next step is pairing the dash with your Commander. Depending on the software version your dash shipped with, you will either see a prompt directly on the dash to connect to the Commander or a prompt to continue the setup in the Sexy app. Just make sure to follow the on-screen steps. It should be pretty straightforward. If the dash and the Commander don't connect to each other on the first try, make sure your Commander is up to date with the latest firmware and try again. If that still doesn't help, a factory reset of the Commander usually fixes it. The final step is pairing the Commander with Tesla's official Bluetooth API. Press Pair with the car inside Commander's tab and follow the on-screen instructions. Make sure your Tesla keycard is available, that there is only one or maximum 2 connected keys at this moment, and that there are fewer than 17 paired keys overall listed in your lock screen, otherwise the process might fail. Now you're ready to start setting up your Sexy dash. At this early stage of the dash, there are 3 categories of widgets that you can choose from. The first category is Actions. These give you access to dozens of features such as region control, seat positioning, and more. Actions can be executed via the touchscreen or by using the right scroll wheel when you are not on autopilot. Scroll up or down to change the focus, then press right to execute the selected action. When an action is triggered, a small line at the bottom of the widget will change color to indicate a state change. All action widgets have this line, while stat widgets do not. Stat widgets are purely informative and can display information such as battery and motor temperatures, remaining battery capacity, and battery degradation. We have big plans for this category, including deeper BMS statistics and more advanced visualizations. The last section you can choose from is our special widgets. They are typically more complex in nature, providing deeper customization options like our gauges, alongside features like CarPlay and Android Auto, which requires an additional pairing to your phone. To do so, start from the Bluetooth settings on your phone and find the device called Sexy Dash, which has the special bar icon at the front. Select it and proceed with the pairing steps on your phone. When you reach the Connect to CarPlay pop-up, press Connect and in a second you should see the CarPlay content on the Sexy Dash. For Android Auto users, the process is similar to the one I have just shown you. Now, after you have successfully paired it with your phone, you can select one of the 5 available CarPlay or Android Auto widget sizes, ranging from 2x2 to a full screen layout. Please note that for this feature to work, your phone must be present and its Wi-Fi settings must be enabled at all times so the dash can receive data. Most widgets support 3 layout styles. They can take one square from the grid displaying a short name of the feature along with its value and unit, or 2x1 vertical or horizontal layout that also adds a dynamic bar. When editing a widget, you may see a message stating that there is not enough room on the screen. This means you need to rearrange the widgets by deleting nearby ones or moving them around. A future over-the-air update will allow full drag-and-drop rearrangement.
Lastly, you can edit the page on your home screen by pressing the widgets icon in the top right corner and then selecting Page Edit button on the left. Here you can customize the number of pages, duplicate or delete them, select units, and choose which stats appear at the bottom corners.
You can also create automations that switch pages automatically based on conditions like autopilot activation or acceleration mode changes. If you prefer manual control, you can switch the pages by flicking the right scroll wheel up or down when not on autopilot. You can create up to 8 pages. Well guys, there you have it. This covers the most essential parts of the Sexy Dash. It's already in mass production and the first batch is expected to arrive by mid-February. Shipping the first 5,000 orders will begin shortly after. If you placed your order between November 14th and November 26th, expect an email around that time. Second batch orders placed between November 27th and January 31st will follow shortly after. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!